Justin Roiland is a name that even if you've never heard of, you've heard from. Rick and Morty, Corvo, and Mr. Poopy Butthole are just some of the characters he's voiced. But even though at one point seeming to have it all, with recent allegations, he's been dropped by Solar Opposites and Rick and Morty, yet they may not even be true. Mark Justin Roiland was born in Manteca, California on February 21st, 1980. He moved around a little, but eventually settled back. Stop. I won't cover his entire childhood because it just isn't that relevant to the case, but here are some quick bullet points. He's dyslexic, and according to a 2015 interview, was SA'd by his cousin at only 7 years old, which may hold some relevance later in the case.
I promise what I'm about to tell you is very interesting and fun.
Oh my God.
All right, so my cousin, who was like 12, 13,
really hot.
and very hot, like seriously hot. It
Or
was
86.
I was 7 years old, and it was 1987. So she totally me, like sucks my all that.
No, for real?
No, I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. I've never told anybody this. The real thing that happened to me, which I'm revealing on Dan Harmon's Harmontown podcast, is that
Brought to you by Doritos, flavored corn chips.
Cousin me. Ladies and gentlemen, can I get a round of applause, please?
But she was hot. Does that kind of...
She was really hot.
She was super
I think
hot.
that's why I have all these problems right now. Because she was really hot, and I'm not making it up.
I know people cope with humor, and along with that, he was not only trying to entertain his friends, but also seemingly a live studio audience and an entire podcast community. But still, the way he spoke about the situation is very concerning, repeatedly calling his own cousin hot. But I'm not here to victim shame because at the end of the day, it does seem like he was the victim in that scenario. Also, I'd like to just note, I did make cuts throughout the story, and it wasn't to cut out important context, but more so to save time, because his friends were repeatedly interrupting him and getting sidetracked while Roiland was speaking throughout the story. He moved to LA and got his start in animation through Channel 101, a media collective ran by Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub that was essentially a short pilot film festival occurring each month at the time. And there, a rough draft of what would soon become Rick and Morty was born. Even prior to starting his own widely successful endeavors, Roiland voice acted and wrote for several shows, including Fishhooks, Gravity Falls, and Adventure Time. Dan Harmon later received an offer to write for Adult Swim after getting fired from his cult classic television show Community, ending the third season due to his erratic behavior. There, Harmon and Roiland evolved one of Roiland's previous show pilots, The Real Animated Adventures of Doc and Marty, based off Marty McFly and Doc from Back to the Future, into what is now Rick and Morty. The show officially came out in December of 2013 and quickly grew a cult-like following, even by just the end of season 1 being one of Adult Swim's most successful shows ever. While growing Rick and Morty, Roiland continued building his animated empire through several other shows like Koala Man and Solar Opposites, along with games from his very own company, Squanch Games, like Trover Saves the Universe, Accounting, and Accounting Plus. In total, Justin Roiland has over 100 credits, a very full career, but little did everyone know that one accusation could have his own empire banish him, his whole career crumble apart. In 2020, unbeknownst to many, Roiland was arrested and charged with felony domestic violence in connection to his at-the-time girlfriend. This news didn't come out to the public until January 2023 in an NBC report. With the case coming to light, Disney, and therefore Adult Swim, the home of many of Roiland's projects, investigated and concluded that they no longer wanted to be associated with Roiland, recasting his roles and seemingly kicking him from the team, even though he pleaded not guilty. And due to insufficient evidence, the charges were dropped. But that didn't matter. The damage was already done, and there was still more to come. And even though the allegations likely came as a shock to his past colleagues, it wasn't completely new, as during the filming of Rick and Morty Season 3, Roiland was allegedly involved in at least one incident of SH. SH means harassment, and if you don't already know, SA means assault. Roiland also supposedly grew distant to the companies, with his involvement in shows not seeming to be prominent, and many workers behind the scenes at Solar Opposites and Koala Man claiming to have never even met him. Those behind the scenes at Rick and Morty claimed he seemed uninterested, saying he would miss important meetings, ignore creative directions, and overall hadn't had a meaningful creative presence in the show for years. The recastings have been controversial but very interesting, with that of a British voice blaster in Solar Opposites switching Corvo from American Roiland to Dan Stevens, a British guy, with Justin Roiland also resigning from his very own game company, Squanch Games, following the accusations. In hindsight, the disinterest seems obvious, especially as his rift with the other showrunner, who started as and should have remained his teammate, Dan Harmon, expanded beyond reasonable distance, supposedly initiating as far back as season 2 of Rick and Morty, when Harmon brought in new writers to the show that didn't seem to adjust well to Roiland. According to Harmon, he was simply trying to make Roiland's job easier and keep him comfortable, but everything turned bitter with their last conversation that left Harmon in tears occurring in 2019, far prior to the 2023 allegations. He said things that he'd never said before about being unhappy, Harmon recalled. I remember saying to him the last time we spoke in person, like, I am worried about you, and I don't know what to do about that except to give you all the string and also just say I'm scared that you're not going to come back. But then this conversation became unprecedentedly confrontational. Adult Swim even attempted to savor any scraps of a relationship between the two through a mediator that still ended up falling flat. NBC continued to investigate the situation, and in an article published in September of 2023 titled Justin Roiland Uses His Rick and Morty Fame to Pursue Young Fans text messages show, they found even more evidence against the star, alleging Roiland essayed his Tinder date and used the power imbalance that came with his fame against young and even underage girls to coerce them into relationships with him, citing not 1 or 2, but 11 people, with thousands of messages from 2013 to 2022 as proof. Looking at some of the text messages released is absolutely horrifying. From a conversation between him and a Massachusetts woman, she said that the sexual stuff that happened to them was not handled in the best way, and she just wanted him to take into account for future dates. She knows it's not black or white, but verbal consent is very important. And he even admitted that he messed up, saying, I'm really sorry. But that doesn't fix anything. That being only one of the many messages shown clearly in the article, with another one of the supposed victims citing in the interview that he's lucky I'm not the type of person who wants to be famous or well known or anything like that, because he would have been exposed by now probably. I don't know. It messes with my head a lot, like literal trauma. 3 of the girls cited reported being only 16 years old when their conversations initialized, and 9 of the 11 reported that Roiland turned their exchanges sexual, with 2 in particular claiming SA, and 1 saying he forced her into doing bad acts even after she rejected, with even more messages seeming to have been sent through Twitter DMs with a minor, showing Roiland call a 14/15-year-old jailbait.
So here are the DMs, do a little scroll. I told him I was 16. He said he's looking for my pictures and knows why he added me. Says I was super cute, and let's just go up here. New tab. And it is him.
And another screenshot seeming to back the exact same idea, with Roiland calling another minor jailbait and saying that they should consider marrying him when they turn 18. Keep in mind, Justin Roiland is currently 43 years old, so even 5 or 6 years ago when everything seems to have begun, there still would have been around a 20-year age gap if the other user was 18. But as mentioned, they aren't of age yet, only making the situation that much worse if true. Andrew Bretler, a lawyer representing Roiland, said that the allegations were false and defamatory, but who really knows at this point in time? Roiland's last public statement seems to have been made through his Instagram and Twitter, with the same image reading, I have always known that these claims were false. I'm thankful that this case has been dismissed, but at the same time, I'm still deeply shaken by the horrible lies that were reported about me during the process. Most of all, I'm disappointed that so many were quick to judge without knowing the facts. Now that the legal case has ended, I'm determined to move forward and focus both on my creative projects and restoring my good name. Although the initial charge was dismissed, his name has certainly taken a hit, and from just what we've seen, there may very well still be more charges to come. This could lead to the downfall of Rick and Morty, this could lead to the downfall of Solar Opposites or Squanch Games, but this is leading to what is likely the downfall of Justin Roiland.